you guys for coming on this pre-holiday webinar. I'll make a quick introduction. You know, we have Howard Alexander from Data USA. And I used to, and if you're like the rest of us, you've probably heard of Info USA. Data USA is the son or grandson of that previous company.
Ben is the pioneer who started Info USA 50 years ago, and he kind of spun it off after selling off the private equity and started in 2009 and got the gang back together, and we've been chugging along since.
That's great. So what did you do before 2009?
Myself, I've been in the industry 35 plus years.
Wow.
Right out of college, Dun & Bradstreet. I've worked for the top 3 companies in the industry. Dun & Bradstreet, 10.5 years. I led the D&B Blue, and then my management team was going to an up-and-coming company at that time, which was Info USA. And I got together with Vin Gupta and worked side by side with him, grew the company high and wide, and was there about 16.5 years. And I hung around a couple extra years when I started Database USA. Then my phone rang and Vin said, listen, we're getting the gang back together. And the solutions are dynamic. And the great luxury they've given me is not only the ability to lead with our homegrown solutions, but to reach out and create strategic partnerships like with Direct Mail 2.0 to bring value to my clients, since clients are always asking to increase that value. So, and I've been here for about 8 years.
Great. Well, congratulations on that. And again, thank you for being here. Myself and Morgan. Morgan is the youngest one of the group here by far, but I've been at Direct Mail 2.0 about 5 years now. I originally came from wholesale distribution and e-commerce. I've always been a tech enthusiast, and I love all things marketing. So I was able to participate in the founding and spin-off of this company from its previous parent, like Howard did, Postcard Mania, who I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of Postcard Mania or heard of Joy Genduza. And this has been a great adventure, and we've been able to take something that is sort of old school, ink on paper, and bring it into the 21st century. I was, I guess, lucky enough to be disrupted in my previous career selling CDs and DVDs online via Amazon and destination websites. And I was disrupted by Netflix and iTunes and Amazon and the like. And I vowed I will never be disrupted again by technology. Hence, it was a perfect merger of print and digital marketing. So we're here to kind of help you guys. I can let Morgan speak for herself, but she's going to be doing most of the talking. So I'll turn it over to her, and I will promise not to interrupt too often unless I have something important to say.
No worries. And so I'm Morgan DiGiorgio. I'm the SVP Sales for Direct Mail 2.0. I'll keep it short, sweet, and to the point. You know, I have over 19 years professional experience in various different leadership roles, primarily in sales and marketing. I am the co-founder of a technology-based medical company. So that sales and marketing background coupled with the technology background led to the perfect fit for my introduction to Direct Mail 2.0 in 2018. So this company is a phenomenal company that really enhances the response to the direct mail marketing channel. And so everything that we stand for is in the improvement of that channel, how we can seamlessly track it and how we can drive a better response. And I'm super excited to have Howard with us today, because the key foundational element to a direct mail campaign intrinsically is the list and who we're marketing to. So today's webinar agenda, we're going to drill into how we put together an effective direct mail campaign, what we should do, what we should not do. And that's centered around strategic targeting, key design elements, the top 5 creative mistakes, and how digital integration can equal insurance. So let's go ahead and get into it. So what are the core elements of a successful direct mail campaign? Well, there is a specific recipe for success. And the first component is the proper list. 65% of marketing on average is who we're marketing to. So we need to ensure that we are marketing to the right people, the appropriate audience that our product or service speaks to, or of course, we're not going to get a response, right? We're not going to market pet products to people that don't own a pet. Doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Following that is an effective design that is appropriately communicating the message that we want to speak to that audience. And then what I feel is really of most importance is employing what works in marketing, and that's repetition and consistency. And it doesn't matter what marketing channel you are utilizing, repetition and consistency is crucial to success. We wouldn't see a billboard go up and come down in the same day, right? We wouldn't just send one email or display one social media ad, and we definitely shouldn't just send one direct mail piece. Now, will you get a response? Absolutely. We're seeing higher than ever response rates from the direct mail marketing channel, but you're merely just scratching the surface of the kind of response you can achieve when you utilize repetition and consistency. And what we'll expound on more today is how we can very inexpensively add digital integration into direct mail to deliver that repetition and consistency and ensure that we're not leaving leads on the table, right? So, starting with the foundational element of our direct mail campaign is that list, right? We're not going to market roof repair to condo owners. They're never going to have a need to repair a roof because they're not responsible for it, right? So from here, I'm going to introduce Howard. He's going to talk more about how we can acquire the appropriate list and how we can ensure that our data is on point so that we can deliver a good response to our direct mail campaigns. So Howard, over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Morgan. And when we think about lists, we're thinking about optimizing your in-house list, first-party data, and then purchasing external lists being third-party data. So when I first started in the industry, traditional direct mail, or what they used to call snail mail and outbound telemarketing, were the sole direct marketing channels used. And we live in an omni-channel world, and this is where direct mail 2.0 makes a significant difference. Being able to apply and being able to put email, social, and digital advertising into the mix. But with all these marketing channels available, most companies are just not capable of applying them together successfully. So where Database USA potentially fits in and adding value is to be able to clean that initial data up front with our core database management services, as well as once we learn about the list that most of the time the customer is going to use, to be able to use that knowledge to be able to identify lookalikes or clones within the remaining portion of our database, thus being able to drive results. As it pertains to our company overview, I kind of gave a little bit on my description when I first was introduced. We are the premier provider of both business and consumer database management data services and solutions. We're the only original compiler of both. Our company was started in 2010 by Vin Gupta, again, that same guy who started Info USA back in 1972. We're headquartered in Omaha, Nebraska, about 10 miles down the road from folks and our friends over at Info USA. He started to hire back all the engineers and developers who had built up that Info USA brand. And right now we have about 200 years of experience. And that becomes critical when we talk about being able to apply our services and being able to invest in technology that allows our customers to really see some value. One of the differentiators is we have a dedicated call center and a web research group. And these folks, their sole responsibility is to make sure that they're keeping up to snuff all of our in-house database solutions as well as our data files. Right now, we have the strongest value prop in the industry. We lead with our homegrown solutions, and then we're able to bring in strategic partners to be able to bring some value. And we do it in a real strategic, consultative way, and we think we're cost effective as well. Okay, next slide. One of the areas Database USA kind of prides itself is assisting the companies to understand the condition of their in-house file. We have developed proprietary software that allows us to perform a wide variety of data processing type solutions. We all have to agree having a clean first-party customer file or being able to get and license third-party prospects is definitely essential to maximizing your budget. And there's absolutely no doubt that companies have a consistent challenge in maintaining the integrity of their file. So if we look at the steps for success that we apply to every customer file that we take in or a client file, is we apply a whole bunch of manual as well as automated address hygiene services. We take the data in, we normalize the data, standardize it, reformat it, clean it, and fix the input records. So we're making sure that the name is in the name field and all the addresses are lined up and parsed, and the extensions are made on the addresses, and the zip codes are correct. We run the records through the USPS licensed postal file. So we're a licensee. We have all of that information internally, so we know when people are moving from one place to another, or companies are moving from one place to another, or that the address is vacant. So when we think about ways to complement the Direct Mail 2.0 solution, they are the recipient of a client file, and then they're running it through their processes. If we had the ability of being able to further clean that data up front, it's only going to drive stronger results. Another frustrating thing the client has is the fact that duplicates creep into their file by a number of different ways. Could be a first initial, last name combination, could be the first name and last name, similarities of the addresses. This is one area that we spend a tremendous amount of time with. So once the data is cleaned, we then run it through our match process against our in-house data files. And the purpose of doing that is to be able to identify viable and not viable records. Whether a record is matching to our out of business file, if it's a business list, whether it's matching to a deceased record, unfortunately, or whether or not it's a vacant address. So it's important to be able to show our clients when we clean their data, what is the results of this matching process. When we match against the business and the consumer data, and again, being the only original compiler, this will allow us to append firmographic data and demographic information to be then used later to be able to profile a client's file and identify clones or lookalikes to that target audience. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So let's look at a live customer and how we are able to impact their marketing budget and really from a loss avoidance standpoint, assist them in their mailing costs. This is a client who is mailing to both businesses as well as individuals. And traditionally, when we run a process like this, we're able to identify 20 to 30% anomalies within the data. So right here, there's about 100,000 records that are submitted. And through our address hygiene processes, we have been able to identify a list of different anomalies, as you can see, true duplicates, deceased records, out of business, address currently vacant, and records that have moved from one place to another. So the savings costs on the right-hand side will show you the amount that we're able to save up front. And with the address results, identification of bad or blank records out of the gate adds a little bit more to the loss avoidance. So the net on this is mailing costs going into the hygiene. If each of the mailing pieces was $1.10, what we've been able to do is clean up the data to maximize deliverability, as well as from a loss avoidance standpoint, identify over 30,000 records that will not be part of the Direct Mail 2.0 process. All right. If your goal was to get to 100,000 records, we ask the client to send us, in this case, about 140,000 records, so you can back into the 100,000. And again, this is only going to maximize stronger results. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so the other area that we can provide is just flat out list, and that could be a subcomponent of analysis that we do on a client file, or just if they're providing us specific criteria that they're looking for in a target audience. The main databases are the business file and the consumer database. We also have some trigger files that are on the right-hand side. Okay, go to the next slide. The same processes and techniques that we will apply to our own in-home databases or homegrown databases, we interrogate the same way as we do a client file that comes in. The sole responsibility is to vet out these compiled sources that are coming in. Our goal when developing these databases is to maximize deliverability, connectivity, and content. And flexibility-wise, we've developed newer, scalable, flexible technologies that allows us to pull in data from hundreds of online directories, and the same type of QA processes that we were reviewing before that we apply in a client file applies here. Next slide. So the two main files that we will be pulling data from is our national business file. Right now, if we look from 30,000 feet, here are some statistics and some information that's available. And at a later date, we'd be glad to be able to provide data dictionaries to our friends at Direct Mail 2.0, and they'd be glad to share that with you. You're going to have rich information in there, firmographic data, you have company name information, executive information, address information, etc. on each of all the records. So if you came to us and said, we would be interested in having a list of all the manufacturers of telecommunications, 5+ employees, in a specific geographic area, we would go in the database and run counts and provide that information. Okay, we've created a triple verification process. It's industry renowned within our business file. There's no company out there in the marketplace that employs a more consistent, complete, and comprehensive process than Database USA, with the original sources, 2 forms of telephone verification, as well as web compilation and being able to pull in information from companies' websites, as well as hundreds of online directories. Okay, and the last slide. Turn to the next one. Thank you. Same situation on our national consumer file. We have about 260 million individuals. You'll be able to get information on the individual as well as the household. Got a lot of demographic information about individuals, a lot of hobbies, lifestyle and behavior data. Same concept. Come to us with specific criteria that you're looking for in a target audience. We'll be able to provide that information. And we also can take the learnings from taking in the client file and be able to apply it against our remaining records on either database. So again, folks, I appreciate and thank you for allowing me to participate. I'm going to turn it back to Morgan. Any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out.
Thank you.
If I can interject, do you want to do Q&A at the end or between?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can definitely do at the end.
Q&A for the ends. We've got a lot of additional content to get through. So
Great.
pop it in the chat. We'll get to it when we get there. You can ask at the end. So thank you, Howard. You know, it's so important that we have the ability to be able to acquire the appropriate list for who it is we're marketing to. So once we have that core foundational element in place, the next thing is how we're going to market to that audience, right? So there were 10 elements that every postcard should have. A picture is worth 1,000 words, but an effective postcard design is worth 1,000 prospects. So the design of your postcard is almost as important as the list. It's a close second, but very important. So first thing, a clear, bold headline, okay? On the envelope or front of the mailer, there should be one central message. It should take up about 15% of the front of the mailer. This is what you're using to capture somebody's attention. So final notice, we buy houses, boom, it's right there in your face. Healthy teeth and gums for life. It's right there and you see that headline. Secondly, we need a graphic that supports that message. So here we see the cash in hand. That definitely captures my attention. It supports the message. Everybody likes money. My attention is drawn to that. Also, if we can look at the gentleman here in this dental postcard, they have a really nice smile there on their face, and that's definitely conveying the message that they're trying to get across, right? Also, use color that pops. Make the headline and the other text stand out using a color that's standing out from the background color. When you're looking at the postcard, you want to ask yourself, what do I see first? If the answer is not the headline, then you want to tweak the size, the font, and the colors of the text so that it pops. Also very important, use subheads that are leading into the text. If you've got a couple of paragraphs, you're going to need some good subheads that are going to entice the prospect to actually read the copy. If you've got less than 100 words, you can probably get away with it. But if it gets any longer than that, then you need to prompt them to keep reading. And some good examples of that are see below to find out how to easily apply, or see the back of the postcard to see how to take advantage of our offer. Benefits, so important to market the benefits over the features of your product or service. We don't want to assume that our recipients know what the benefit is that can be derived from, say, a lower interest rate. You know, it might be obvious, but tell them that their monthly payments are going to go down or that you're going to save them money. So a feature is what something does and or what something is, and a benefit is what something does. So made of aluminum, not too enticing. How do we flip that to a marketing mindset? Keeps your drink colder for longer. It is red in color. It will match your outfit and make you look good. So we don't want to utilize features. We want to talk about the benefits. And these are some good examples there so that we know how we can appropriately market what we're trying to convey on our postcard. So of course, the offer is so important. It must have high value, low cost, believability, and a reward. You're rewarding those who convert now and you're penalizing those who don't. So we want that conversion and we want it now. And some examples of how we can accomplish this are by using a loss leader, a sample, a trial, discounts, free gift, special event, buy one, get one free. And my favorites are limited supply. Now I know we're talking about postcard, but you know, with those ads that you see online, if it's something that I really want and it says only one left, it gets me every time. I'm a sucker, right? So also the utilization of expiration dates is very beneficial. It really creates a sense of urgency and gets them to want to take advantage of that opportunity because it's only lasting for a certain time period. Especially if we're creating direct mail campaigns for a client, this is definitely going to help us to show that ROI on that postcard sooner rather than later, because we know that a postcard can sit on, you know, a kitchen counter. I mean, even in nonprofit, sometimes donations will come in 6-8 months later. So we want to create that sense of urgency and get that offer taken advantage of as soon as possible. Your company name and logo. This definitely needs to be on the mailer, but it shouldn't overshadow the offer. A clear call to action. Tell the prospects exactly what you want them to do. Spell it out, make it very clear. We can't assume that they know what we want them to do. So use things like call today for more information or go to our website. Put your contact information on there, your name, phone number, web address, directly following that call to action. You know, you want to give them the information so that they can convert in the manner that they want to. You don't want to make them have to search around for your contact information. So make sure it's there so they don't have to do any additional research to convert. And then also a return address is very important. For one thing, it's going to ensure that you'll get return mail, but more importantly, it's showing that you're an established business and people feel better knowing that they're dealing with an organization that has a brick and mortar location. So, you know, when we're thinking about our direct mail campaign, we need to think about, is this relevant to our audience? You know, once we've got that audience, is what we're marketing relevant to them? Are they going to take the time to read it? You have about a fraction of a second to get somebody's attention, to get them to respond. And a lot of times I can just look at myself and say, is this something that I would respond to, right? And is there enough incentive there to get them to respond? How good is your offer? Are they going to part with their cash and drive revenue into your organization? But I think what's really important is this program going to be profitable for me? And a lot of times there's a lot of focus on the cost of the direct mail campaign. But when we're looking at the cost of something, it is so important that we're looking at the benefit of what we're getting for that cost. You know, over the course of time, the direct mail marketing channel was perceived as being expensive. But again, when we're looking at the response rate that we're achieving from that channel, it's really not expensive. So for example, if my direct mail campaign is costing me $10,000, but I'm getting 20 new customers and the average value of those customers is $10,000 a piece, I'm generating $190,000 return on my investment. That's revenue being driven into my organization. And now that's giving me additional money so that I have more marketing spend so that I can do it all over again and continue to grow my business. So top 5 creative mistakes. Don't use too much text, keep it short, simple, to the point. Don't overwhelm people. A lot of them skim. I'm guilty of that. People need short, easily digestible copy. I also know that it's something that we like to convey, but don't list every personal achievement or award on the postcard. Most people are going to go to the website to research that information anyway if they're interested. Don't use clever but confusing headlines and concepts. If your prospect doesn't immediately know what you're offering, they likely never will. They're not going to put in any extra time and effort, not even a fraction of a second. So a really, well, I want to say good example of a bad example is this ugly appliance postcard here. When you first look at that, you have absolutely no idea that they're running an ugly appliance contest. I see a gentleman here, he's missing a tooth, he's holding a crown. I think maybe it's some kind of a pageant. I'm not really sure what's going on here. I'm really confused. There's not a picture of a refrigerator here or anything that's giving me any kind of indication of what it is that they're trying to accomplish. So that's a good example of a bad example and what not to do. Also, don't use photos that are low resolution or poor quality. It will come across as unprofessional and really diminish your rapport with your customers. So if your photos are poor quality, they're going to assume that your product and services are too. And, if you don't want to hire a professional photographer, your smartphone can take really good pictures, pop it out, take 20 or 30. One of them will probably be ready for prime time. But if you are in an industry where image is super important, like, fine jewelry or interior design, then don't spare the expense. Hire the professional photographer. If you're expecting people to invest in your product or service to enhance their own image, then you want them to do and invest in yourself also. Don't use unnecessary graphic elements. Your postcard's purpose is function, not form. If it's not getting the message across, unfortunately, it's just not going to achieve a response. Use some cute flourishes if you have room and, if it makes sense for your industry, but not at the expense of other valuable information. If it's not promoting your message, then don't use it. Also, don't overwhelm with too many offers with every single product or service. And this is an example. There's just way too much there, right? Use one product, one service, one hook to get them to the website and explain more. And testing is super important in marketing. Test offers, test different products and services, find out which one works best. If they're interested, they will go to the website and they will learn more about your organization and the other product and service offerings that you have. When you're splitting up their attention with too many offers, it's just diluting the interest, right? One more thing too, you want to have separate offers for your customers and prospects. If you send your customers a postcard with an offer for 25% off for first-time buyers, you'll insult them. So make sure that we're utilizing separate offers for prospects and customers as well. So we've got the core elements here. We need a good foundation, which is the list, the audience, and who it is that we're marketing to. Next, we need appropriate creative design, a really good offer, call to action that's going to deliver and drive that conversion. So when people convert, they go online, right? About 90% of people, if you're interested in something, it doesn't matter if you see a billboard, you receive a postcard, you see a social media ad. If you are interested in something, you are going to go online. So that's fantastic. We're driving a response to the direct mail piece. People are going online. The thing about it is that about 96% of people are leaving once they get there, right? We're only getting about 4% conversion right off the rip. There's about 96% of other people that are leaving. When they leave, maybe they're going to competitors' websites because they want to see their reviews and what products and services they have to offer. So we did what we needed to do. We got the right list. We marketed to the right people. We drove them to our website, but 96% of them are leaving. And I want to tap into converting a high percentage of that business. And I can effectively do that if I utilize what is effective in marketing. And that's repetition and consistency, right? And so marketers that are using 3 or more channels in any one campaign earned a 287% higher purchase rate than those using a single channel campaign. That is powerful, right? Purchase frequency is 250% higher on omni-channel versus single channel. That is something that I'm interested in tapping into. And so you can provide insurance against lost conversions from your direct mail campaigns when you integrate digital into these campaigns. And so what we have found, on average, is that we can achieve at Direct Mail 2.0 about a 23 to 46% lift in response over just a traditional direct mail campaign by integrating these digital technologies. And the reason why is because repetition is what works. And we deliver a 7 to 11 technology omni-channel marketing campaign where we're delivering the same message that's going out on the direct mail piece in as many instances as possible. And it works because 80% of sales are made between the 8th and the 12th touch, whether that's a sale, a donation. If you're in political, it's the vote. We have to get in front of these people in as many instances as we can, because we never know when that serendipitous moment is going to occur when they're ready to convert. And remember, they went to competitors. So if the competitor has an appropriate way of following up with them and you don't want them to engage in business with your competitors. You don't want your marketing dollars driving revenue into your competitors' business. You want to harness and capture that business. So ensure that we have an appropriate way of following up with them, and being in the right place at the right time when they're ready to make that buying decision, right? So a little survey by Brand United NAPCO Research. There was a ton of really valuable information in it, but it showed that marketers who use about 4 to 6 channels in their multi-channel campaigns actually reported the best response rates. So with Direct Mail 2.0, we're utilizing this platform to repeat that same message over and over again, right? How many variables come into play when we think about when is somebody ready to convert? Well, it really depends upon what that is. Maybe the timing's not right. Maybe you just need to change my mind. I get a postcard. I think, I'm not interested in this. I discard it. But later I look at a social media ad and I think, you know what? Maybe I do want to take advantage of that. But it was the postcard that drove that initial interest for me to look into possibly taking advantage of that offer. And so there's a lot of ways that we can enhance that direct mail piece. We can take a mailing list. We can serve up ads to that direct mail recipient prior to, during, and after them getting the mail piece so that we can help to achieve that conversion if they don't initially convert from that direct mail piece. Now, tracking is very super important in direct mail. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about how we can track an offline channel online like we do all of our other digital marketing tactics that we're utilizing, which is something that we haven't been able to achieve. And I'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But, being able to get peace of mind, either for ourselves or for our customers, if we're direct mail service providers, that what we're paying for is being delivered is super important, right? And there's a product offered by the United States Postal Service called Informed Delivery. And this is a way that we can give our prospects an opportunity to respond to an offline channel online. So I don't know, I know I check my informed delivery almost every single morning. I'm not really sure why I'm so concerned with what's in my mailbox, but every morning I get an email. I can see scanned grayscale images or colorful replacement images of the mail that is going to be in my mailbox at the end of the day. And there's a full color ride along ad that's right under that mail piece that I can click on. And I can go right over to the website. I can convert, or I can search and browse. But now this is another impression that I'm achieving from the mail piece, even before I go out to my mailbox to get that postcard. And a bonus is with the direct mail 2.0 platform, informed delivery actually qualifies for 4% postage discounts this year. That's starting in August. So, you know, with the postage increases and increases in paper, this is a way that we can effectively utilize the direct mail marketing channel, get a higher response rate because we're getting additional impressions, and also take advantage of postage discounts. So another way that we can effectively track our direct mail campaigns are by utilizing things like a call or text tracking number. So when you have that call to action on the mail piece, prompting that prospect to call, use a phone number where you can effectively track the phone number they're calling in from, who they are, their address. You can record the call. You can see how many calls you received from that direct mail piece. And I like utilizing the inbound SMS because it's really in alignment with the way that people prefer to respond to marketing. According to OmniSend, omni-channel campaigns that involved SMS at some point in the process were about 47.7% more likely to end in conversion. So, you know, I can pull out my phone and say, oh, text offer for you to this number. Now in my mobile device, I've got this offer, this coupon code, or whatever it might be that I can take advantage of at any time because I have it on my mobile device that I take with me everywhere. And we can also capture the information of the person that's texting in. So phone number, name, address, and we can utilize this information in our follow-up campaigns. Our sales teams can utilize them to follow up with, or for our future marketing campaigns. And you know, another way to track as well is with the utilization of QR codes. So people are very adept to pull out their phone and scan a QR code as well. And it helps to deliver that increase in response to the mail. And there also is another postage promo discount, the mobile shopping promo, where you can take advantage of postage discounts if you're utilizing a QR code as well. So again, helping to increase the response to the mail and taking advantage of postage savings at the same time. So we can also deliver additional impressions to our direct mail recipients through platforms like Google and Facebook and Instagram. So above and beyond just taking a mailing list and specifically targeting, doing that one-to-one targeting to those direct mail recipients, we can also display ads through the Google Display Network and through their feeds to not just the direct mail recipients, but also cast a much wider net digitally, targeting additional prospects in the same geographical locations that we're mailing to drive additional leads into the organization, while also delivering additional impressions to those direct mail recipients. Now, for anybody that responds and goes to the website, whether they respond to the direct mail, they click on a social media, they respond to informed delivery, the Google ad, when they get there, now we put them into a marketing funnel and we continue to saturate them with ads through digital, giving all those additional opportunities for them to engage and convert. We don't want them to forget about their initial interest in that direct mail piece that they responded to. We need to just give them all of those additional opportunities to convert. And we can do this through other platforms as well, like YouTube. This is the second largest search platform on the web, and we can also harness the power of video. And we achieve about a 1.84% response on video over a still ad of around 0.007. So that is powerful. We can display ads through Discovery, which is the Discovery toolbar, Gmail ads, the YouTube homepage. But last but not least is Lead Match. And, you know, this is centered around, you know, for one, we can talk about how we can really acquire a very strategic and targeted list through this technology, but also show attribution to the direct mail piece, which is so important. So there's technology that we have where we can give you a pixel, you can put it on a website, and when someone goes to that website, we can identify who they are, provide a 95% accurate residential address for that person. We can tell the things that they're interested in because we can tell the pages that they visited and how interested they are because we can tell the average duration of time that they spent on those pages. So this is building one of the most effective mailing lists that there are. These are the people that are interested right now in the right place and at the right time. And now you have an opportunity to send out a personalized direct mail piece that is speaking to that individual with a creative that is marketing to them about what it was that they were interested in. And so we achieve about a 9 to an 18% response rate when we market to these people. And it's because it's utilizing everything that's working in marketing. It's the right people, the right offer, the right creative, right? And so people respond to marketing. They go online and they leave, and just like we can retarget them with digital marketing, we can also retarget them with mail. I go online, I saw a social media ad, I go online, I add to cart, I think, don't really need this. I go to leave, a little pop-up comes up and says, wait, 10% off if you buy now. And I think that 10% off isn't that great, so I leave. And 2 days later, I get a postcard that says 20% off. And I think, well, now you're talking, right? And I come back and maybe I buy 2 because you offer free shipping when I buy 2. And now we're driving conversions. So we can drive conversions through integrating digital with our direct mail. And we can also increase return on investment to our digital by utilizing direct mail, right? So we do also have a custom dashboard where you can log in, you can see how the marketing dollars in your campaigns are working. You can drill into the data and responses that we're acquiring from these campaigns and really utilize this data and technology to continuously improve your marketing campaigns as you're going forward. It's tangible, it's right at your fingertips, you have access to it in real time, and you can export and download reports that would be valuable to you in your future marketing campaigns. So, a little bit about an omni-channel campaign, and what does that look like? So we've got the mail piece here. We have our Google and social ads that are reminiscent of that direct mail piece. It's triggering that familiarity in that direct mail recipient's mind. So not only are you employing that repetition, but you're also employing that consistency. And so when we utilize that lead match technology where we can identify those unique website visitors, we can also instantly match back to the mailing list so that we can show that your direct mail recipients are responding in the same way as all of your other marketing technologies. And that's by going online, right? So in this campaign, they got 17 calls. Not very impressive. If it was my direct mail campaign, I probably wouldn't be very happy with that response, right? But because we were utilizing the lead match technology, we can see that 932 people from the mailing list went to the website. Wow. That's about a 17, 18% response rate. I probably have to use a calculator, but that's strong. If I didn't have a technology like that, I would think that the direct mail wasn't working. The direct mail is working. People are responding to the mail in the same way that they respond to other marketing, and it's by going online. And 96% of them just aren't converting right away. So now you know that the direct mail is working, and you also know who is responding so that you can follow up with them. So this is a real estate campaign. We can employ that same cyclical imagery on the digital ads, even from a letter. Their offer was to receive a complimentary vacation at closing. And the kind of return on investment you can derive when you're utilizing a campaign like this, they were at almost a 7,000% ROI from utilizing an omni-channel marketing approach. This is really integral for nonprofit. They were able to increase their giving by adding omni-channel onto their direct mail campaign by 25% for around $1.6 million. But the piece that's really important here is that by utilizing that lead match pixel, they were able to identify off the website by putting the pixel on the ways to give page or how to get involved, an additional 6,780 first-time donors. So it's so integral to be able to get new donors in nonprofit because our lists are saturated. We're always marketing to the same people, not to be morbid, but people pass away. And so it was really integral to the success here. And then having that ability to add that digital was able to drive that 25% increase. So this is one of my favorite case studies because it's higher education. And so we're not talking about a pair of shoes here. This is a rather large cycle. And by adding omni-channel onto their direct mail campaign, they were able to achieve a 53% increase in total deposits, a 26% increase in students admitted to deposits. And then when they used the lead match technology and mailed to the people on the website that were interested in the educational institution and added omni-channel on top of it, they were able to achieve a 25% response rate with the direct mail 2.0 platform. So very powerful when we're harnessing the power of not just that digital integration, but of technology that can give us the ability to seamlessly track and identify the right audience so that we can strategically target the right people. So by incorporating, 7 to 11 technologies into your direct mail campaigns, once you have the appropriate list and you have the right creative and the right marketing message to employ, we want to utilize the right marketing solution to deliver it. And so direct mail is a very powerful tool and it drives a very high response rate, but we don't want to leave money on the table by not utilizing an appropriate follow-up plan. And so we can deliver that, inexpensively, seamlessly in a turnkey solution through our dashboard where we can add that integration to deliver that additional lift, right? So we can provide that insurance against that lost conversion with integrated marketing strategies. So thanks for everybody for joining us today. We do have also a drawing for 1,000 free leads. So shortly after this webinar, we will be contacting 3 lucky webinar attendees who will be able to acquire their 1,000 free leads. I hope that you found what we provided today to be educational, and we'll also be sending out this deck here too. So anything you wanted to add, Brad? Or how?
Yes, yeah. So I've been fielding some questions and some comments throughout, and I know that there's a couple here. Honestly, at this point, mainly for Howard, but I'll address the printing one first. Barb Bettino, hopefully I didn't butcher the name. How are all you dealing with the paper shortages? We're having to plan our campaigns way ahead. So in order to have a lock on our print vendors 5 to 6 months in advance of our drop dates, how are you all experiencing that? Morgan, you've talked to many printers all the time.
Sure. I mean, honestly, the paper shortages are running rampant in the industry right now. They're doing their best to be able to fulfill, what they can for their customers. Unfortunately, a lot of times they're turning to utilize other direct mail service providers or commercial printers to fulfill portions of their campaigns for them. But, we also have been providing solutions to our partners because, there comes a time where you have a client and they want to deploy a marketing campaign, and potentially maybe you only have the opportunity or the inventory on hand to deploy half of it, but you don't want to lose that additional revenue. So we do have opportunities where you can run a digital only campaign. You can take that list and you can deliver a direct mail 2.0 campaign to that portion of that list that you don't have the ability to mail to because you don't have the resources. So rather than lose all of the revenue, they've been able to get real creative by utilizing our platform and have been able to deliver a marketing solution or strategy without mailing.
Good, thank you. Barb has another question, which I'll actually take myself from my drawing on experience on this. The question is, I've been a direct mail designer for over 30 years in the corporate world and as a freelancer. We prove for years, and it still holds true today, a direct mail kit being a package of an envelope and a brochure, various multiple pieces of print in an envelope, outperforms a postcard almost every time. Do you ever test kits? Now, I don't doubt that at all, but I can guarantee you the postage and cost to produce that kit is significantly more than a postcard. And for a lot of clients who are budget conscious, producing a kit and mailing it for probably $2 to $3 each is going to be cost prohibitive. And that's probably what people are running into in terms of why it's not used more. Morgan, if you guys are, feel free to comment, but I would call that the answer on that one.
No, I agree.
So, all right. I have some questions. I went back and forth with a couple people on the chat. And again, I'm not in the data business, so I'll let Howard dive a little deeper on this. And we've had similar problems. Sometimes you buy data and you still get bad addresses, even though they're NCO8 or they're hygiened or this or they're that. And I get it. There's always going to be a margin of error. And I guess the question is, with today's world, this is considered the great migration or the great resignation. There's been more movement of the population in the United States in the last 2 years than there has been since the post-war era in the late 40s and early 50s.
Yeah.
How is it, or what can be done to better or more accurately keep these addresses up to date so that, you know, people don't experiencing huge postage losses?
That's a great question. And we always make a recommendation to a client that they should be updating their house file, their internal customer file, which is first party data. If they have a homegrown prospect file or they purchase third party data and they're planning on utilizing it at least every quarter, every half year, depending upon the size of the database. A compiler like Database USA with our national consumer and our national business file, we run through the USPS national change of address each and every month. We do 48 months going back. So it's very critical to your point, Brad, about people, individuals, households, companies moving from one place to another. You know, with the housing market going crazy and also the young adults, the youth going from one rental facility to another rental facility, it's definitely a challenge for compilers like ourselves. So we're doing as much as we can. But sometimes you do miss, you know, depending upon if they're filling out the proper forms or getting the information from the banks. It's a challenge, there's no doubt.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Tim at NPF specifically about this, and he made a good point. And again, I sympathize with this problem. He says, especially today with the younger, and call them the millennials or Gen Z, who are more digitally nomadic and they travel around. They do not go to the post office like we used to as young, fill out the change of address card. They do not fill out the back of those credit card statements that changes the address because they pay everything online or it's on auto pay. So the ability to track movement is actually more difficult than it was in previous generations. And I don't think that's well known or publicized in the data business. It's actually more difficult, even with the technology, because people are less cognizant of filling out these forms than they are.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I totally agree, 1000%. Well done, Tim.
Yeah. So anyways, that was something I learned at NPF that I never knew before. All right, I think you've got a question here from Angela Allen.
Yep.
Is Howard's company able to get us consumer names, emails, and phone numbers, and how expensive is it?
Yeah, I mean, listen, absolutely. We'd be able to run counts and queries against our national consumer file. We'd be going through a process to identify, does each and every record have to have a phone number? Does it have to have an email address? So we would definitely be able to do that and come up with a target audience that's effective for you.
I think she might be asking about data appends.
Or I saw she was asking about cost. She heard we were expensive. So again, I think volume kind of drives that. Data appends, absolutely. So we would go through that process that we talked about the address hygiene, match it to our consumer file. When there's a match, we would append any or all the information that's important for you when available.
Good. Julie asks, again, this is to you, is how accurate are the lists that include behaviors of like lifestyle, hobbies, and interests?
Yeah. So that's interesting. So a lot of that information is self-reported information, a lot of warranty information, a lot of form information that you get online from various online areas where you can register on the web. The information we're hoping, since it's self-reported, is sort of accurate. We were able to get whether or not they're a subscriber to specific magazines, whether they've purchased products and services in certain industry groups. So if we're getting a bunch of ticks and flags that are kind of related to the same hobby or same lifestyle, it's a pretty good indicator that that person is interested in that particular product or service.
Thank you. Thank you. Arnold Dickinson asks, should we be concerned about a cookieless world with the lead matching technology? So I'll take this, and I'm sure Morgan will want to comment. So here's the thing on the cookieless world. So this has been floating around a couple of years now with the CCPA and the GDPR and the security concerns. And I'll tell you something, you can almost liken this to the oil industry. When something drives a lot of revenue for a Fortune 100 company like Google, it's not going away anytime soon. All right. So the world revolves or relies on these cookies. They have tested other platforms like Flock and cohorting. It's never gotten the traction yet. And I'm not saying it'll never go away, but it's not going away anytime soon. And even if it does, or when it does, there is programmatic type advertising that's IP based or device based. There will be ways to attach or promote to the targeted audience. However, retargeting and cookie based is much more inexpensive and cheaper than programmatic at this point. So unless you want to triple or quadruple your digital ad budget, use those cookies as long as they exist.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just to expound on that a little further, if you do have a customer or client that is sensitive, to utilizing cookies, a lot of times we might have clients that are in California that are a little bit more sensitive to the utilization of cookies and pixels. And we do have different ways that we can set up these campaigns without the utilization of cookies and pixels, and still deliver those 8 to 16 impressions. So don't think that, there are ways that we can think outside the box and still effectively deliver the value without the utilization of those cookies and pixels. We've definitely got you covered in that regard.
That's great.
Good. That is all the questions we have at this point. Please get in touch. I don't know if you can throw up that last slide again so people know how to get in touch with Howard or Morgan. But listen, data, creative, omni-channel marketing, those are the key words here. That is what you need to be doing. I look at omni-channel marketing with direct mail is almost an insurance policy. 1 impression in a mailbox or 8 to 16 impressions with digital add-on campaigns. You need highly targeted data. You want to hyper target your prospect. So data is just as important. There's no one key stroke to making a successful campaign. It comes from many places. But that's all I have to say. And any last words from Howard or Morgan?
I just want to thank Mike for throwing up that chat about well done panelists.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
No, listen, hey, I was super excited to be part of this, and this is this super opportunity for you folks out there to harness the direct mail 2.0 solution to really maximize your marketing dollars, and super excited to be part of this.
Thank you.
We will be sending a recording as well as the deck and announcing the 3 winners with an email. I'm going to call it, give us 48 hours to get it all put together, edited and done. So that will go out to all registrants. So you can review the data and see who won the free leads. All right.
Have a great vacation weekend, everybody.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care now. Bye-bye.